Welcome back to From an Educator. In this episode, look who we've got.
It's me.
Yeah.
I'm back.
And we're going to talk about some things today that are different than school. See you soon. I'm Mr. James.
And I'm Mr. Ritchie.
And
we are the educators.
And we're in the same room and we have no masks on, and I'm not afraid.
Right, finally.
I'm not afraid of the Delta variant.
Nope.
But I'm not going to laugh about it either, because honestly, this is crazy serious that we're going to be entering the fall with maybe 3 more variants or something, potentially.
Luckily, the evidence is that the vaccines are showing some response to them as well.
Arm still hurts.
And so now at this point, the unvaccinated are the biggest science experiment and social science experiment that we've got going. And so good luck to you.
Yeah, I know. And unfortunately, a lot of children, I think they can't get a vaccine until you're like at least
12, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, so those who want to be vaccinated but are unvaccinated, that's definitely tough. There's a few reasons for that, age and illness and stuff like that. But for those that are willfully unvaccinated, different story. Sort of different story. And I've been waiting for this sort of level of that point where it got to a point where, at this point it's just your responsibility, kind of like a flu shot, I guess, but more like a tetanus shot. You go be a mechanic, you want your tetanus shots up to date. And at this point, if you want to be in public, you should probably get your shots up to date. Just a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, I heard that that Pfizer, not Pfizer, but Moderna is going to be making a flu vaccine now.
Yep.
That's with their same technology. I feel like they kind of hit it out of the park this time with our COVID vaccine, and they're like, hey, guess what? We can do other things. We already got ahead. Let's just keep going. So great. Use your mRNA technology. Maybe you can cure aging.
Well, it was cancer at first. I think they're really trying for cancer, which is awesome, because that's one way to prevent aging is to not die of cancer, which would be a good thing. So I think that could be very helpful going forward. Let me turn off my phone while we're at it.
Say, everybody, this is live. This is fresh. This is raw. By the way, I usually mention the date. It is Thursday. It is July 8th. It has been a weird day, and I'm in deep with summer school, but it's, you can be stressed with summer school. Sometimes you're stressed by taking vacations.
Yeah, that can happen sometimes. We won't get into too much detail on that, though.
Yeah, but the thing is that we're kind of going through our lives right now with summer, and it's rainy in Maine. Tomorrow's going to be hit by this edge of the hurricane that's been going up the coast all week, ripping things apart. Hurricane
Elsa.
Elsa. I get it from her. Frozen.
That's right. That's the only reason why I remember that right now. Yeah. So we'll see. I think we're going to be fine where we are. The coast is going to be dealing with some more stuff, but I don't have a boat down there yet, so I think I'm all set.
Yeah, for those boat owners that are listening to this podcast, we probably actually don't have a boat owner listening to the podcast.
No, if so, donate.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let us have a ride on your boat at least.
We're going to try a few different things today, because like we mentioned, this is not really a season right now. We're off season, I guess. So I wanted to throw a few different things out there. And hey, it's not just me talking. So that's a plus, right? I wanted to read, because every day I get a Maine news thing, and I wanted us to react to this. This is happening in Maine. We're in Maine, the state of Maine, the state that's so close to Canada that it might as well be Canada, right? Once part of Massachusetts until we broke away, or maybe Massachusetts didn't want us anymore. I don't know. I actually don't really know what that is. But here's some of the news today, and I want to see what you think about that. So our Governor Mills signs a new law that prohibits offshore wind projects in state waters.
Now, I think this hits me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Not a fan of it. Now, I mean, if you are what would be considered a true Mainer, and that you know lots of people, if you don't yourself, that fish or go lobstering and stuff like that. I think that's where we're entertaining people here. Like I think Governor Mills is entertaining the fishing industry who say that offshore wind projects are going to destroy their fishing for some reason, which I don't think makes any sense. I think that they're just reactionary and upset. And if there's any lobstermen listening, I dare you to come and debate me and teach me how I'm not correct, because as of right now, I think I am. So, but really, I don't think it's going to affect fishing at all. I think what it would do is provide a great way for us to transition to a renewable energy form, which I think is probably one of the most important things that we could do as a state, country, and as humanity as a whole. And so you got a bunch of people that are like, well, wait a minute, we're advancing too far as a society. We need to slow things down and do things the old-fashioned way a little bit longer. And I think that's what we've achieved here with that first news
coal.
article.
Let's use some more coal. Come on. We run off burning coal, burning wood. We don't need that stuff, that technology stuff. And then you get a phone, that person gets a phone call and they lift an iPhone up to their, and you're like, what's that?
Yeah.
Where's your rotary phone?
Yeah.
Where's your landline?
Yeah.
Why are you so easy to contact? Are you using the internets?
Why are you using technology that has cobalt inside of it? What, don't you know what happens to the children that mine cobalt?
Yeah.
Oh.
All of these things, people will say one thing and they don't realize that they're basically doing opposite of what their intentions are.
They are the people they dislike.
When I say, hey, put a wind turbine, I live on a hill, put a wind turbine on top of this building that I'm in right now. Put it on top. Put it on top of every house, every apartment, every building, and just gather that wind up. If I could have solar panels on each of the blades as well, if that worked, I don't know. I'll take the entire thing. I want everything solar powered. I want everything wind powered.
Yep.
I want to wear clothing that's solar powered. I mean, to charge my wearables. Why are we doing this stuff now? Yes, it's expensive.
But it's scary and new. It's scary stuff.
You have to say yes.
Yep.
That's the first thing. All right, let's go to another one. I'm going to kind of randomly choose this. I've read these off camera before, and not all of them really stuck me with things. I did think this one was interesting. Let's see. Several Maine school districts have joined lawsuits against opioid manufacturers.
Yeah, I think that is an awesome start to school districts holding companies accountable. You know what? While we're at it, I say let's go ahead and start some lawsuits against the fossil fuel industry as well, tying into our other discussion we were just having. But let's keep it with opioid. Well, the opioid manufacturers knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were making, especially after they made it and tested it on things. They knew that they had one of the most powerful addictive chemicals possible. I mean, I don't know how much more you could be addicted to a terrible thing than something like this. And they knew that they were creating customers. They knew that they were going to make millions, and that's why they did it. And they need to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. They have not been. And so one of the ways to do it is to basically sue them to get some money to pay for the damages that their product has done. It's like, just imagine like, you know, a company that sold cars without seatbelts or the seatbelts that worked. They knew that the seatbelts, the safety measures that they had imparted weren't adequate enough, and that lots of people were going to die and lots of people were going to be affected negatively. Well, the money that was spent by regular people trying to fix these issues that were imparted by the manufacturers, I think that's fair game. I think it's a great idea. And I enjoy seeing the opioid manufacturers. I think I'm looking forward to enjoying seeing them lose money and stress out about dealing with this. Although probably the lawsuits won't even touch some of their fortunes and things. But, you know, I'll take what I can get.
I feel it's funny you have to do a roundabout way to attack these companies.
Yeah.
And hitting them where the purse is seems to be the only way we can do anything. And it's kind of like an argument with the Black Lives Matter movement where they mention giving rioting almost like we have to riot because then people see that. And in some cases, in some ways I'm like, I guess I can see that and like looting stuff, but I just don't really feel that's the best way to do that. But I understand someone's argument that doing something drastic wakes people up and makes a scene, and you need to make the biggest noise, bigger, whatever possible. When you're doing something like this, the only way you can do it is by hurting their money, because why would anyone make anything?
Yeah, you can't really hit the streets and make a bunch of noise and cause any change for this sort of thing because they're untouchable. They're not. You're not going to shut down a district and expect a drug manufacturer to be affected. They don't. They don't have commerce like that. You know, it doesn't affect them the same as like a fossil fuel industry, for instance. That would work something against them. Of course, like the activists you mentioned, like now it's against local police districts and offices that they like BLM would see that they are doing something wrong, and so therefore in that localized area you can take to the streets, you can make a change locally that does do things locally. But they're so big, these opioid manufacturers, they're global, you can't make a big enough protest that would affect them. They would just laugh as they see the headline on their phone, their $1,300 brand new phone, and then just put it away, go back to driving their yacht or whatever it is. Like they're almost untouchable because of the amount of money that they've got and that they've made off from other people's pain, literally making money off of
people
people's
have
pain.
prescriptions, so it's kind of like a subscription for constantly getting more because they need this. They think this is the only thing they can do it, and they're addicted to it. So
it's crazy. I welcome it, and I'd join on to that lawsuit as well as a Maine school employee. Got my voice of support.
Yeah,
keep up the good work.
We'll see something like that. So looking, well, there were 38 more coronavirus infections reported yesterday. 38. Remember when we were talking about 800, 900?
Yeah.
Wow.
So 70,000 total, which, you know what?
Yeah.
We were getting more than that per day in the country. So, like, whew. But luckily, we don't have to spend a whole segment on that anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's freedom.
Yeah.
Fall, though, I can't promise that we're not going to be thinking about that in our impending flu/COVID shot that's going to probably be together, or our booster shot everyone's talking about.
And normalize mask wearing, people. Come on.
Yeah, because we're going to be getting our mask in pretty soon. We can't wait to have that episode. We're actually wearing a mask.
Yeah, it might be while we're out building something, because I don't know what we won't really be in a situation where we need it. It'd be great to test it out at least.
If I'm sweeping something and there's dust in the air, I'm going to put that goggles, that little clip-on thing on, and have that mask on and look like Bane from Batman.
Yeah, I'll be using it while like sandblasting in the garage or something. I don't know.
No, it is the best mask ever. It's too bad it was $30-something for it. Yeah. All right, last one. You see one that you might want that might be...
We can do the train thing.
Oh, yeah. Railroad company CSX files more information in Pan Am takeover quest.
So it sounds like private company is trying to take over. So Pan Am, wasn't that? I thought that was the airplane, the National Airplane Company. I thought that they're talking about the trains. So maybe I'm wrong about that. But so it looks like a company is trying to take over what is essentially a state-run train company, the only one around. And if you talk to people that are into sustainable transportation, and they know a thing or two, public transportation is an efficient way of getting people from one place to the next, and trains are significantly more efficient when used appropriately to get people from one place to another. Like a gallon of fuel make an entire train go, a few hundred yards down a track, which is a significant amount of freight and cargo actually going someplace. So yeah, we should get more trains. We have a lot of tracks that are just going wasted. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are trying to get not just from Boston to Portland, but like from Portland to Lewiston, Auburn, which would be great because Lewiston is the second biggest city in Maine, which isn't saying a lot, but getting trains to people, letting people use them more. I prefer taking a train down to Boston, relaxing, watching the scenery go by. I take train travel over airplane travel any day.
Yes.
And the amount of restrictions is so much less. It's got a colored history. It's very colorful. However, I think current train standards are really good. And, Amtrak, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So they said Pan Am in the thing, but Amtrak was what I was talking about. So I really like Amtrak. I like trains. I think that is a necessary part of sustainable transportation in the future. But again, the people that there's a lot of people that think that owning a pickup truck is just the only way to get around, and filling it full of gas and driving at 12 miles per gallon. That's got to be the American way. And anything different is scary and strange, and they'll
Use up
resist it.
resources.
Yeah,
Use stuff up.
Yeah,
and every night you need to eat a steak, potatoes, and something that's small that people call vegetable that doesn't. It's not good for you because it's taking up place on your plate.
And wash it down with some bourbon, some good old Kentucky bourbon or something.
Yeah.
That's the only way to live in
It's
America.
probably corn. I forgot.
Oh, it's
potato. It's going to have corn,
Yeah.
which is honestly another grain. It's not a vegetable.
That's right.
It's another. It is. I mean, it's a grain though. It's a grain. You can't be like, I eat my vegetables. You ate another grain.
Yep, it is.
You know?
Corn came from grass. It still is
It's
a form of grass.
bad thing. But yeah, as far as the train thing is concerned, I just feel it's like, I think all these private companies, they have money and they want to get into something that's making money, or some way they can get a leg up on something. So when they're needed, it's needed as a service, they own it, and they're like, you have to pay. It's Monopoly. Remember the game Monopoly? This is the game Monopoly. They're trying to buy all the railroads. So when you land on them, you have to pay them a fee, and it's going to be like $200 if they own all of them. You don't want to deal with that, right?
I don't think that it's a good moneymaker right now. I don't think it's a very smart investment for a company to make.
They just want to take it over because they want to own it.
I don't think that it's going to lead to better service, honestly. I don't think that a private company is going to do better with what they've got, what limited track and types of trains they've got now. I just don't think it's going to work.
It reminds me of all those companies that own planes and stuff like that. And you go, you're like, I need to have a plane ticket. I don't ride planes. I've flown one time when I went down to Florida when I was younger. But you think of all the companies that own these, and then everyone has these ideas of like, oh, JetBlue. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Oh, Delta. Let's not talk about that. Continental. And now I think it's actually down to there's less because they've lost so much money basically for no traveling, and they couldn't support themselves. But they're all trying to outdo themselves with like either what they have for food or options or prices, whatever they do, because they're trying to outbid each other. And
yeah,
I guess it's capitalism, right? We shouldn't be surprised with that, but crazy. So that's some of the news that's going on in Maine. It's not surprising that it's mirrors a nation. It's about money. It's about it's another Scooby-Doo story about somebody wants to make money. And right now, it might seem nice on the surface, but of course, we're going to find out later on that it's something that had bad intentions or something bad came of it.
Yep.
So, all right. So we have a new segment we want to try out, and this is actually, I don't know. I just want to see how Mr. Ritchie reacts.
Let's see.
It's kind of like, it's basically for podcasters that are listening to us. Do I call you a podcaster? We're the podcasters,
right?
Podcast listeners.
Yeah.
I'm going to describe a picture of something, and I just want you to just whatever comes to mind, flaws you have. We're going to be floating a new program out very soon. That's going to have a different sort of like format that we have about us reacting to speeches, people, not just videos that we see, but mostly people and their arguments, so we can deconstruct logical fallacies. But I just want to, this is almost going to be like me describing a meme picture. So let's start this off.
Let's try it out.
First one.
No, is this like a real picture?
These are pictures like I see on the internet.
Okay.
And just something I'm just going to describe to you, and you can just be like all the flaws in that. All right. A person holding on to a rocket as it's going into space out of the Earth's orbit. and living, and they're smiling.
I think that this is an idea that Richard Branson had one time. I don't know. It's pretty close to it. There's a lot wrong with that. You can't make it to space while holding on to the outside of a rocket. I mean, I guess no one's ever tested the theory. No.
You probably get burned.
Blown
on the
off.
way. Yeah.
Well, if you're going into orbit, you would not hold on to it because you'd be going well past the speed of sound. Now, you could go into space at 30 miles an hour if you had such a device that could slowly bring you up, and nobody's designed one of them.
Yeah.
You go to space on rockets, generally speaking, at faster. Yeah, I don't think of a rocket that's ever made it to space. It didn't go supersonic, let alone when you go into orbit, you're going 17,500 miles an hour. You would become a ball of fire while hanging off the side of your rocket. That is not going to happen. And you're not very aerodynamic either.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I see kids drawing pictures occasionally with people like doing that, going, I'm just going to ride it like a horse right up to the space.
There was a movie like Dr. Strangelove, I think, where a guy, I think he rode one. I don't know if he rode it all the way up and down, or he at least rode it on the way down.
Or the superhero movies where they always go up into space.
Yeah.
They can fly from the Earth, surface of the Earth, straight up the however many miles, 30, how many miles until you can actually get to low Earth orbit?
Well, 60 miles.
60 miles.
That's it. But to get to orbit, you have to go 17,000 miles, at least 60 miles or higher. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So it's a mixture. You can't like go 50. Because you could go 50. You can't go 40 miles high and 17,000 miles across and ever expect to come back to orbit. The air friction will slow you down and you'll crash. If you're at 50, you might make a few revolutions before you actually come back. 60 miles, you're going to make hundreds before you come back. Higher than that, you have significantly increased potential to stay out there forever.
Yeah, but that's 60 miles is quite a lot. I don't know. It's like, yeah, people don't understand how far up it. Like, I can walk a mile. I bet it's 1 mile up.
Yeah.
No. 60 miles up. Go try walking 60 miles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get back to me in a couple days.
Now imagine holding on the side of something. Hold on the side of a car at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah. That goes 60 miles, and how long does it take from the surface of the Earth to get up to that?
Well, if you're on a orbital rocket, you're probably talking like 4 minutes.
4 minutes going that speed.
Just to get to space. Yeah.
4 minutes.
Yeah. Of just 0 to 12,000 miles an hour in 4 minutes, you know what I mean? And then from there, it's like the booster booster leaves, the second stage kicks in, and then you're exponentially going, like, increasing speeds, like just at 4 Gs. You're not going to hold on to something at 4 Gs either. You're not going to have the strength, then air resistance. I mean, eventually you lose out on air resistance, but you'd have to have the world's best spacesuit. That'd be pretty interesting. But, I could see a kid drawing that.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, picture number 2.
Okay.
Picture number 2. Pirate ship that's falling off the edge of the world.
Oh, yes. Yes. So one of the inspirations of that tattoo are the old 1700s type oil paintings of this situation happening, where it's just this long waterfall and it's just all the sailors, all the people, and you're emotionally hooked into this piece of art, like, God, what would they be thinking in the moment or whatever. And as a kid, I was captivated by just this. It's probably a famous piece of art, or maybe there's just a whole series of artists that paint these sort of things, but just ships going off the edge of the earth. I was enamored by them and just thinking, what would they think of? And like, wow, what would be at the bottom? Well, if it's the edge of the earth, like, where's the water going? Well, not even that.
Why do we still have water?
Where's the water coming from? Yeah. Like,
did you run out by now?
And immediately, I think that was probably the first time in my life that, like, even as a kid, I'm just sort of like, flat earth doesn't make any friggin' sense. Like, it doesn't make a bit of sense. And that picture alone, I almost feel like I want that in the STEM lab where, so I teach STEM. I want it on the wall for kids to sit there and think of and be like, Mr. Ritchie, that couldn't happen. You're exactly right. It
Yeah.
couldn't happen. And
You
that's,
can have a lot of pictures like that. And
yeah.
Surrealist paintings
Surreal,
and stuff like that. And they go, why are the clocks so drippy?
yeah, or Escher's stairs or whatever it is. Yeah.
Get up the stairs.
Yeah.
The first person tells me how to get to the top of these stairs wins, and they can follow it. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
And everyone thought that. You'd run out of water, first of all.
Yeah.
The water would be completely gone. The earth is not, it's covered in water, but underneath the water is land.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks like there's the ocean and the ocean's infinitely deep. No, it's not.
No.
There's land under that.
I think it's like
an island is just an outcropping of land that is just higher up than other land the water's on top of.
Yeah, and like
if
on
you lose
average,
the water, you're going to just have a bunch of valleys. Would live in like a giant place that has huge valleys.
Especially with a clear fall line that is as wide as the Earth, well, would be drained dry in a matter of an hour or so, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like, there are these huge logical fallacies, like the first picture, the idea that you can withstand the wind resistance on the way to Earth,
We'd probably
to
have
orbit.
like night would last months long.
It just would last all the time, because if you couldn't see the sun, then that's the only time that you would have dark. So it's like, I don't know if anyone who believes in flat Earth ever saw a sunset before. Where did it go?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that unless the entire Earth is suddenly pitched into darkness, and it's going around the bottom side of the Earth, but isn't the water dripping on it? Like, I don't. Yeah.
It'd be going over the other side, like probably faster, because if Earth's flat, it would also probably be much larger and longer.
It would have to be.
So
yeah.
you see, hey, okay, it takes this many hours for the sun to go around it, and then it's going to go really fast on the bottom, and then it's going to come up slowly again, because my point of view is the only thing that really matters.
That's right.
Maybe someone lives on the other side of the Earth. If it's flat, right, there's two sides. Who lives on the underside of the Earth?
They're just always confused. It's raining all the time. They're just like, where's the water coming
and
from?
that
Why?
could be a movie too. It's
but
like
they have to be hanging off, because in order for the water to fall,
opposite.
it'd have to be opposite.
What if the water falls and it ends up going like this and raining on that other side, and they're getting all the water, and then every 1,000 years it flips, and then we're going through a 1,000-year rain cycle.
And there are people that think that makes more sense logically in their head than the fact that gravity pulls things into a sphere like a bubble, and that gravity left alone will pull everything into a sphere, and therefore you can have things that live on top side and the bottom side without there being a conflict of physics, which I think is pretty interesting, because on those, you have to think about all of the things that painter had to know and understand in order to draw and then paint this beautiful picture. And like, for instance, how did the sailors navigate to the edge of the world if if the stars didn't move at night, then sailors would not be able to navigate using the North Pole.
Yeah.
And so there's no reason for the stars to move if the Earth isn't moving. Like, there's a huge breakdown that happens really quickly when I see that picture in my head.
All right, picture number 3. You're gonna really like this one.
Okay.
A caveman with a sword riding on a dinosaur. Let's say it's a velociraptor.
Okay. Excellent.
And a dinosaur actually has leather.
Like a saddle?
Like a leather saddle, like that would be in a horse.
Okay. All right. There's a lot to unpack with this one. Let's see. All right. First off, you can't ride a velociraptor. As my 7-year-old daughter could tell you, that the velociraptors in Jurassic Park are not actually based on a real dinosaur that's approximately 6 feet tall and all that. They're actually based upon these much smaller creatures that, long story short, they took some artistic liberties with Jurassic Park, and I'm glad they did. What a great movie, but it doesn't work like that. Number 2, I'm just thinking caveman and smelting iron into a sword. Like, just like, all right.
Probably thinking Neanderthal, because you have to be more specific.
Has to exist in a cave, right?
Yeah.
So it can't create its own shelter. So we definitely have to be talking about nothing much past Neanderthal, because after that, we figured out how to put some sticks together and build a house. But so the idea of finding enough iron ore to then smelt and heat up and break down into liquid iron and extract all the rocks,
And it'd be so good to
and
like
to be so good,
form it into that.
and then, well, what did he form the sword on? Usually you need an anvil or a equally hard surface, and it's not like you can bang it against some rocks and expect to get a sword finish. So uh, maybe he just knows a guy, another Neanderthal in another you know, another cave somewhere that has spent his entire life just finding rocks and magically burning them and figuring out that they can pour into molds. And so there's some liberties there, but also the big elephant in the room is human beings and dinosaurs were never around each other at the same time. My daughter would argue immediately, well, chickens and birds are dinosaurs. Well, they're evolutionary cousins. And so definitely real people believe in this picture.
Yeah.
There are people that think that, yeah, it makes sense for people to ride dinosaurs, and why wouldn't they have a sword? Back in the days, we all had swords, right? Yeah, sure. And that makes more sense to my simple brain than the idea that the difference in time between humans and Tyrannosaurus rex is actually shorter than the difference of time between Tyrannosaurus rex and Stegosaurus. So Stegosaurus and Tyrannosaurus existed farther apart from each other than we exist from Tyrannosaurus. So wrap your brain around that, and then tell me that people went to battle on their dinosaurs.
I mean, and also I think the leather thing would have been.
Oh,
no one
I
making leather at that point in time that where a caveman would exist, let alone dinosaurs at all. I mean,
there must have been some fresh cut cow skin that was like still in the process of decomposing, because tanning is a disgusting process where you take biological matter and do everything possible to turn it into a non-living inert substance, which at the beginning people would just like urinate on things, and then I imagine they had to agitate it in the solution, like this terrible stuff. So I mean, you know what? I believe more along the tanning line, feasible versus smelting of iron. However, creating a saddle is also something that took thousands of years of trial and error of like, how do I keep my butt from hurting when I'm riding this horse or dinosaur in this?
Dinosaur with like a spiky lizard back. That's
yeah. So that's an incredible picture that you've drawn. But
originally I got this picture from a picture that would have some additional complications, because I saw the Christian Jesus riding a dinosaur with a sword, which puts it even more of like a giant leap in time from like someone who potentially existed 2,000 years ago, and dinosaurs being around 2,000 years ago.
Right, that gives us a time frame now. Now we're talking about, okay, we've already, 2,000 years ago, we already had cities, we already had city-states, we already had ships, we already had horses that were domesticated.
Had swords.
Probably had swords. Yeah, definitely. Metal weaponry, like, not even just metal weaponry, metal life implements, like just things like nails, construction methods, stuff like that. Definitely not any velociraptors around that time. Maybe ostriches. There were some ostriches. I mean, that's probably a close cousin.
A chariot being pulled by horses.
Yeah, golden. Yeah, absolutely. But no Jesus. Unfortunately, I don't think Jesus ever rode a dinosaur.
Yeah, and I did see another variation on that where he actually had a laser gun. Too, but
honestly, not harder to believe.
We don't even have that. I mean, here's the thing: is for some of these pictures, if you're already making something that's unbelievable or that's like really farcical, you might as well just go and keep adding things on there.
Commit. That's right.
He could be on a cell phone as well.
Yeah, absolutely. On his Bluetooth, even with his smartwatch, letting him know he's got his steps for the day.
I'm glad we have internet now.
Yeah.
We mean internet. I mean, as long as I'm between the pyramids, I get a good signal.
Obviously, they were the first Wi-Fi signal.
Because I don't even think he was in even Egypt at all. But
Right?
there's so many things you can place in that. It's the same thing as like seeing the lion is the king of the jungle.
Oh yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lions have never been in a jungle before.
Yeah, they haven't been in the jungle, and male lions don't hunt, and so therefore, wouldn't it be the lionesses or the queen of the
Sahara.
the Sahara, yeah, or whatever, like sub-Saharan, whatever.
All right. So last picture. Just a little bonus round. Last picture.
Okay.
Past President Donald Trump suing Facebook.
Yes. I think this one has a pretty interesting outcome that everyone can kind of read ahead of time. How dare me, I'm impersonating right now, me, the person who stands for capitalism and freedom for companies to do whatever they want, how dare those companies decide that they don't want me to participate with their product? Well, that crosses a line. I'm just going to throw away my entire capitalistic outlook, and I'm going to start suing companies that don't do what I want them to, because that's what I believe the free market should be. It's not really the free market. It's really like the free market according to me, yeah. Donald Trump. That's the only logical thing that I can come up with. This is just an amazing abandonment of everything he's supposed to stand for, and we can call it, what is he trying to claim it as? It's discrimination.
Yeah,
discrimination. Yeah, like just because I tried to fund the destruction of democracy itself and install myself as a dictator, there's nothing wrong with that, but there is something wrong with you silencing my ability to do it. And it's like, dude, they should have just given you a lifetime ban. I can't even believe that they're letting him back after like 2023. I hope what happens is and I don't believe in a higher person, but I will pray that Donald Trump makes it so that he can't even have a Facebook account before 2024 elections. Because I'm like, 2023, he's going to come back. People are going to be able to hear his opinions and, make a stronger case for himself on the 2024 ballot. Well, hopefully this lawsuit ends with him losing that ability too. And I hope and pray for that to happen, because he does not deserve a platform, especially forcibly taken, as he's trying to do. So, yeah, lots of logical fallacies behind that one. Don't get me started.
Yeah. I felt like he definitely wants. Here's the thing: you can't fight up against these giant companies of social media. They've got all the people. So you can try to make your own. You tried as many people as they have. That's the thing. You can't go up against this. It's like so many people, and when your people are most people that might support you are mostly on these platforms, you have to get back on that platform at all costs.
Yep, and I think that he's a great lesson for people that are like, we have students that do this, like, oh, well, I'm just going to design something so I can fly like Iron Man. No, you're not. You're not going to be able, like, until you know all the history and technology behind it, you're not going to be able to do it. Well, Donald Trump will be like, well, I'll just make my own social media platform. It's going to be bigger and better than anything that's ever existed. And the best that they had was a blog. They came out with a blog that slowly and silently died, I think, last month, and nobody paid attention to it, and it got him no traction. And it's sort of like, but you won't hear about that from him and his supporters, because failure isn't important to them. They don't feel that failure is a way to grow as a person. They say failure is finite and that's it. It's the end. You are a failure. You can never recover. Well, he failed, and the only thing is he doesn't talk about it, so therefore he's not held accountable.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
You don't even talk about it. It doesn't exist.
Out of sight, out of mind. And so, yeah, good luck fighting. Like, I'm sure he's got still a team of lawyers somehow that aren't locked up yet, but most of the ones that he trusted the most have been locked up. So good luck finding a team that is going to take on Facebook. Go ahead.
Anyways, this has been a good little show to get Mr. Ritchie back on, and yeah, it's nice being in one room, even though it's a mess outside. I guess it's getting maybe worse. It's not flooding yet, but I'm on a hill, so I guess it won't affect that. But if you are getting here having flood issues or whatever from the hurricane, please write to us and tell us what's going on, and we can at most, I guess, comment on it.
And if you know anyone that's a flat earther still at this stage of life, send them my way. I've been looking for a flat earther to debate, like live time. I won't even, we'll settle on some, what do you call it? Some decisions ahead of time, whether we can have a computer, won't have a computer, off the top of our heads, or supported with evidence, like you name it, any place, anywhere. And I would love to have a conversation with a flat earther, because I'm pretty sure that a first grader could outsmart a flat earther. And I say that hoping to get some attention. I dare you to come and defeat first grade logic, and tell me how the universe works without gravity. That's the only way flat earth works, is if we just forget the laws of gravity for a minute, only on Earth, everything makes sense. Like, all right, let's test that.
That's right. This is the summer version of We Are the Educators, everybody.
Yeah.
Get used to it. Well, I'm Mr. James.
And I'm Mr. Ritchie.
And
we are the educators.
Have a good day, night, morning, wherever you listen
Month.
to this. See ya.